Have you ever found yourself worrying about what other people think of you? Perhaps you replayed a conversation in your mind, wondering if you said the wrong thing. Perhaps you hesitated before making a decision because you feared criticism. Or maybe you achieved something meaningful, yet still felt the need for someone else's approval before you could truly feel proud. If so, you are not alone. In fact, one of the deepest psychological needs shared by nearly every human being is the desire for validation. The desire to be accepted, to be appreciated, to be recognized, to feel that we matter. At first glance, this need seems harmless. After all, human beings are social creatures. Connection is essential for emotional well-being. Relationships enrich our lives. Belonging gives us strength. But there is a difference between healthy connection and emotional dependence. And many people spend years without realizing where that line exists. To understand why validation is so powerful, we must travel back thousands of years. Long before modern society. Long before cities, technology, and social media. Imagine a small group of early humans living together. Survival depended on cooperation. Food was shared. Protection came from the group. Resources were limited. Danger was everywhere. Being accepted by the tribe was not merely pleasant. It was necessary. Rejection could mean isolation. And isolation could mean death. As a result, the human brain evolved to value social acceptance at an extraordinary level. Belonging became associated with safety. Connection became associated with survival. Even today, the brain still carries traces of this ancient programming. This is why social rejection often feels surprisingly painful. Studies have shown that social exclusion activates some of the same brain regions associated with physical pain. In other words, the brain treats rejection as a serious threat. Not because it is physically dangerous, but because, historically, it often was. This ancient survival mechanism continues influencing modern behavior. Every time you worry about being judged, every time you fear embarrassment, every time you seek approval, part of your brain is responding to a very old instinct. The instinct to belong, the instinct to be accepted, the instinct to avoid rejection. In moderation, this instinct is healthy. It helps us cooperate, build relationships, function within society. But problems arise when validation becomes the foundation of self-worth. When this happens, a person's emotional state becomes dependent on external opinions. Praise creates confidence. Criticism destroys it. Approval creates happiness. Disapproval creates anxiety. Life becomes an emotional roller coaster controlled by other people. And that is a dangerous place to live. Because other people's opinions constantly change. One person may admire you. Another may criticize you. One person may support your decisions. Another may reject them. If your self-worth depends entirely on these reactions, stability becomes impossible. Psychologists often refer to this as external validation dependence. The tendency to rely on outside approval to determine personal value. Many people develop this pattern early in life. Imagine a child who receives affection primarily when performing well. Good grades bring praise. Achievement brings attention. Success brings approval. Gradually, the child learns an important lesson. My value depends on what I do, not who I am, what I achieve, what I produce, what others think. This belief often continues into adulthood. The person becomes highly successful, highly responsible, highly accomplished. Yet internally, they still feel uncertain. Because no achievement ever feels like enough. The need for validation remains. Always searching. Always hungry. Always asking, am I good enough now? Unfortunately, the answer rarely feels satisfying. Because external validation provides temporary relief, not lasting security. Imagine trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. No matter how much water you pour in, it never feels completely full. Approval works the same way. A compliment feels good. For a moment. Recognition feels rewarding. For a while. But eventually, the feeling fades. and the search begins again. This cycle has become even more powerful in the modern world. Social media has transformed validation into something measurable. Likes, followers, views, comments, numbers that seem to offer proof of worth. Yet many people discover that even large amounts of validation fail to create lasting fulfillment, because the deeper issue remains unchanged. The question is not, do people approve of me? The deeper question is, do I approve of myself? And for many people, that question is far more difficult to answer, because self-acceptance cannot be given by others. It must be built from within. And that journey is often far more challenging than simply seeking approval from the outside world.